Deep in a quiet forest, where fireflies twinkled like fallen stars, stood a tall stone tower. It reached so high that it seemed to touch the moon, and at its very top lived a kind girl named Liora. She had lived there for as long as she could remember, ever since a sorceress called Mistress Noctera brought her to the tower as a tiny baby. Mistress Noctera was strange and secretive, but she seemed to care for Liora in her own way. What the sorceress loved most was Liora's hair. It was incredibly long and shone with a soft, silvery light, especially when the moon was full. Each evening, as dusk settled over the forest, Mistress Noctera would stand at the base of the tower and call out in a voice that echoed through the trees. "Liora, Liora, let your hair fall down." Hearing the call, Liora would go to the single window in her room, unpin her long braid, and let it tumble down the stone wall like a shimmering waterfall. The sorceress would then grasp the glowing strands and climb up, hand over hand, until she reached the top. This was their daily ritual, the only connection Liora had to the world below. Liora's room was filled with beautiful things. She had dolls with silken clothes, stacks of books filled with tales of faraway lands, and she never went hungry. Mistress Noctera always provided warm meals and sweet treats. But despite all these comforts, a feeling of loneliness often wrapped around Liora's heart like a gentle fog. From her window, she watched the world go by. She saw families of deer drinking from a nearby stream, squirrels chasing each other up ancient trees, and birds soaring freely through the endless blue sky. Oh, how she wished she could be like those birds, to feel the wind beneath her wings and fly wherever her heart desired. She would often trace the flight of a hawk with her finger, imagining the sights it must see: the vast green canopy of the forest, the sparkling rivers that snaked through the valleys, and the distant mountains that touched the clouds. Her books were her only escape. She read stories about brave knights, bustling market towns, and grand adventures on the open sea. These tales painted a vivid picture of a world so different from her own small room. She dreamed of walking through a field of wildflowers, of feeling the sun on her face, and of talking to people other than the sorceress. The more she read, the more her longing to experience that world grew. One sunny afternoon, a young traveler named Elian happened to wander into that hidden part of the forest. He was a kind and curious soul, with a warm smile and eyes that sparkled with wonder. As he explored, he stumbled upon a clearing and saw the strange, windowless tower for the first time. It looked ancient and mysterious, and a faint, silvery light seemed to pulse from the very top. Intrigued, he decided to wait and see if he could solve its secret. He hid behind a thicket of bushes as evening approached. Soon he heard a voice call out, "Liora, let your hair fall down." He watched in amazement as a long, glowing braid descended from the high window and a woman in dark robes climbed up. Elian had heard old tales of enchanted towers, but he never imagined one could be real. His heart went out to whoever was kept inside. He waited until the moon was high in the sky and the forest was silent. He was sure the sorceress was gone for the night. Gathering his courage, he stepped out from his hiding place and stood at the base of the tower. He tried to mimic the sorceress's call, but his voice was much gentler. "Liora, Liora, let your hair fall down," he called softly. Up in her room, Liora was startled. The voice was not Mistress Noctirus. It was lighter, warmer. Hesitantly, she peeked out the window. Down below, bathed in the moonlight, stood a young man. It was the first time in her life she had seen a new face. A mix of fear and curiosity bubbled inside her. She felt a pull, a sense of hope she hadn't felt before. After a moment's pause, she let her hair fall. Elian climbed up, his heart pounding with anticipation. When he reached the top, he saw Liora, her face framed by the moonlight pouring through the window. They were both a little shy at first, but Elian's friendly nature soon put Liora at ease. He told her his name and explained how he had found the tower. Liora, in turn, shared her story of a life spent in isolation. From that night on, Elian visited her whenever he could. He would arrive after the sorceress left and leave before she returned at dawn. He brought Liora little gifts from the outside world: a smooth river stone, a bright red wildflower, a feather from a blue bird's wing. But his greatest gift was his stories. He described the world beyond the forest with such passion that Liora felt she was right there with him. He spoke of vast sunny fields where sheep grazed peacefully, of busy towns filled with the sound of laughter and music, and of the great sparkling sea that stretched to the horizon. Liora listened, captivated, her eyes wide with wonder. In return, she shared her own dreams, her simple wish to feel grass beneath her feet, and to see a sunrise from the ground instead of from her window. With each visit, their friendship deepened. For the first time, Liora didn't feel lonely. She had a friend, someone who understood her and shared her hopes. The tower began to feel less like a prison and more like a secret meeting place. They started making a plan for Liora to escape so they could explore the world together. But their secret could not last forever. One evening, Mistress Noctira noticed a change in Liora. She seemed happier, more hopeful, and there was a new light in her eyes that had nothing to do with the moon. The sorceress grew suspicious. She hid nearby instead of leaving the forest and watched as Elian arrived and called up to the tower. Consumed by a furious rage, the sorceress stormed into the tower room. She confronted Liora, her voice shaking with anger. Betrayed and furious that her secret was discovered, she declared that Liora would never see Elian again. In her rage, she banished Elian from the forest and cast a spell to make the tower even more isolated, leaving Liora utterly and completely alone. The silence that followed was heavier than any Liora had ever known. The loneliness returned, deeper and more painful than before. For a few days, she felt hopeless. But then, something inside her began to shift. Being truly alone, without even the sorceress's presence, forced Liora to look inward. She thought about Elian's stories of courage, and she remembered the strength she felt when they were together. She realized that she was not just the girl with the long hair trapped in a tower. She was Liora, and Liora was braver than she had ever believed. A new determination took root in her heart. She would not wait for someone to rescue her. She would rescue herself. Her mind raced, thinking of all the stories she had read and all the plans she and Elian had made. She began to see her room not as a cage, but as a place filled with resources. With newfound courage, she devised a plan. Using the skills she had learned from her books and a cleverness she never knew she possessed, she found a way to secure a rope made from braided blankets and linens. It was a daunting task, but her hope for freedom was stronger than her fear of falling. Taking a deep breath, she began her slow, careful descent down the cold stone wall. When her feet finally touched the soft forest floor, a wave of relief and exhilaration washed over her. She was free. The air smelled of damp earth and pine, and the ground felt solid and real beneath her feet. Without hesitating, she followed the winding path through the trees, the same path Elian had described. Her heart called out for him, and she hoped he was waiting for her. After walking for what felt like hours, she emerged from the shadows of the forest into the bright light of a new day. And there, waiting at the edge of the woods, was Elian. He had never given up hope. He had been searching for her every single day. When they saw each other, they ran into each other's arms, their hearts overflowing with joy. Together, they walked away from the forest and into the promise of a bright new morning. Liora looked back one last time at the tower, now just a distant silhouette against the rising sun. She smiled, a true radiant smile, because she knew she was finally, truly free. She had found her own way out, not with magic spells, but with the strength that had been inside her all along. And so, Liora's story reminds us of a powerful truth, that courage, friendship, and the hope we hold in our hearts are the most powerful magic of all. They have the power to unlock any door and lead us into the bright sunshine of a new beginning. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this story, please like, subscribe, and share it with someone who might need a little reminder of their own inner strength. See you next time.